On today's show, we are with Mr. Jason Gray. Jason, thank you so much for chatting with us.
Thanks for having me.
Yeah, man.
Thank you for. Good to be here with you.
Yeah, so we like to go on artists' social medias sometimes and do some stalking. And you posted a picture the other night. You said you were taking an Elfie with the crowd. Is that the newest thing for 2024? What is an Elfie?
Well, so I'm out on the road with Point of Grace, and they're very sweet. I like them a lot. And they do a song called Candy Cane Lane, and they asked me, really nice, they gave me snacks, and then they asked me, would you be willing to go out like in an elf costume and hand out candy canes? And I said yes. And that either means that I'm a team player, I'm a good sport, or it means I lack good boundaries. I can't tell which one it is yet, but it's happening, and I'm owning it. So I took a picture with the audience with me wearing my elf outfit.
Not just a picture, but you took an Elfie
instead of a selfie.
So the only thing is it would be great if you could have like a miniature shelf built, so you could sit on it and you could be the Elfie on the shelf.
Jason on the shelf.
Yeah. I'll look for a shelf this next weekend. Look for something that approximates a shelf, and I'm going to recreate that.
I mean, it looks like everyone's coming out with those dolls. Snoop Dogg has one. I saw Martha Stewart has one now, so you can just add to that collection.
New markets to break into, I guess, right?
Yeah. Oh, yeah. So you mentioned it, but it is Christmas season, and you're currently on 2 different tours, one with Point of Grace. How has that been going so far?
Oh, they're wonderful. It's been, I've had friends who have been out with them, and they've raved about what a great experience it was, and so I was happy to be asked. I've been doing my own Christmas tour for 11 years, 12 years, and I still did 4 of my own dates. I really love doing my Christmas tour. I was reluctant to give that up, but this was a good opportunity, and they serve a whole different audience, and it just seemed like a good opportunity to make some new friends, Yeah. So yeah, that piece has been great. They're the first day that we met, like, they had me over because they wanted to write a song with me that would be named after the tour, Comfort and Joy. And so I went over there, and it was the morning after I'd gotten some very traumatic, heartbreaking news. Like I was heartbroken. I was not well, and I'd never hung out with them before, and so I arrived there not well, and they were just very, very kind to me that day, and they were great people to be around on a very difficult day. They're also hilarious and mildly inappropriate all the time. I call them a human resources disaster waiting to happen. They're great that way. They're super fun. This last week when I was out on the road with them, there was a fan of theirs who has a rare nerve condition where it's just like excruciating pain, and she was hospitalized. And they were asking me, "Hey, do you know anyone in this area, in this part of the country who we could reach out to have them go help her at the hospital, to go help watch her kids?" And I didn't know anybody in that area, but they spent the whole day calling around and arranging like childcare for this woman who's just a fan who lives like 1,000 miles away. And they got in touch with a church, and they were, and they spent 2 whole days just caring for a person that they barely knew. And, just all under the radar. Nobody would know about it unless I told you about it.
Yeah.
But it's a remarkable thing to to have a front row seat to, So I think they're just remarkable people.
Yeah.
Super fun too.
Yeah.
So yeah.
Yeah, you had mentioned a few things. You said they're a little fun and they like to play jokes. Is it like touring with Michael Scott in The Office?
Yeah, that's not a bad comparison. Yeah.
They wrote the hit song "Circle of Friends." I don't know if they sing it on tour, but
Tour, no.
okay. Well, are you a part of that circle now, Jason?
I hope so.
Yeah,
I'm trying to work my way in there, so
yeah,
a couple
that's
of
great.
ways. But yeah,
Yeah,
that's great. Like I would say a female vocal harmonizing group isn't my typical go-to for music that I listen to, like on my own stuff. But I love all of it, and it's weird because I would say, left to myself, I wouldn't listen to a lot of Christian music. Like it's not my favorite for a number of reasons, and yet all my friends make it.
Yeah.
And I love it when they do, and I love it when I'm out on the road with them. I'll go watch the show almost every night, and I just love all of it. So like it's a weird, even though it's not what I ask Alex to play when I'm home. Alexa's right here.
Didn't want to trigger everybody else's Alexa's. The one word that.
Yes, right.
To this.
We've said it like 3 times and it hasn't caught it. That's amazing.
I know, yeah. See, I have the Google system, and Jacob does too. And I'll have him on speakerphone, and he'll say like, set an alarm for 3 a.m. And I'm like, and then my Google's like, setting alarm for, and I'm like, no.
I should clarify something I was saying too. I should also explain for people hearing this who haven't heard me before. I do have a speech handicap, so I'm a stutterer. I say that Christian music isn't my go-to music. I would say that that's mostly because the thing that I enjoy the most in my music or movies or food or whatever I enjoy is being surprised. There's less opportunity to be surprised or caught off guard for me when I'm hearing Christian music, just because I kind of know where the story is going to go, So that's why it's not my go-to. Like, I don't have anything against it.
right.
It's just not, yeah. So
yeah.
I love a lot of it. I just hung out with Mike Weaver, a Big Daddy Weave. We wrote a song with each other that's on their upcoming album. Great song.
Awesome.
And so we got to hang out and we were interviewed about that. And it was great.
Yeah.
So I believe in it. I make it. I've dedicated my life to it, so.
Oh yeah. So it's been about, you said 12 years, and you've been touring also with that for 12 years, that album.
Yeah.
Is there another Christmas album in the works?
Haha.
Or if you start it now, it might be finished by the next.
Yeah. Have you heard my Christmas album? It's okay if you haven't. You have. That means a lot. Thank you. I'm probably the proudest of my Christmas album, of any of my albums I've made. I wrote a song for each of the characters in the nativity scene. Mm-hmm. And I tried to do that as authentically and humanly as I knew how. And as I got into their stories, I realized, man, there's a lot of drama in these people's lives, and a lot of them are in the midst of crisis, and so a lot of the songs have a psychological weight to them, Sometimes I've been afraid that people who are just randomly coming to a Christmas concert that they heard Jason Gray was going to put on, and then they walk in the door and they're subjected to these psychologically weighty songs about the Christmas characters, like if that was more than they bargained for. So this last year, I thought, what if I ran some counter programming, and on my next Christmas record, I just made it like really light and really fun. What would that be like,
Yeah.
Would people like that? Would they feel like, why is he doing that, I don't know. I'm wondering about it. So, or at least a mix.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Should.
We'll see. So I've got the Christmas Stories album I did, and for years I wanted to make an Easter Stories record, and
Yeah.
I've written about half the songs for it, and I would love to do that. I think that would be very meaningful for me at least, but I think the label's worried that there isn't a market for that kind of Easter record, and
Yeah.
lose a lot of money on it, so I don't blame them for being skittish about it, but I'd like to figure out a way that I could do it. That would be a nice.
Which you would
bookend.
think, like the resurrection of Christ, should be a big market.
I know. It's weird. It's weird. Yeah.
Yeah. One of the best Easter songs, Jason, is by new song, Arise My Love. You know that song?
I don't think so, no.
Such a beautiful song.
Right. I'll look it up.
Yeah, you need to.
Yeah.
Beautiful song.
Yeah.
So about stories, I think I see a theme here, Jason. So you have Christmas stories, and then you just did a kids' book with a story.
Yeah.
Sparrows off your song.
Yeah.
Tell us about that children's book.
Yeah. I've wanted to do a children's book for about 10 years. Everybody talked me out of it for years, saying that it's just it's difficult and there's you'd probably lose money on it and stuff. But it was always in me to do it, but there was always obstacles. And then when a buddy of mine who works at the record label, he came to me, and it was his idea, and there was this new energy around the idea. It's like, yeah, let's do it. And so it was great. It's based around one of my songs, Sparrows, and it was so fun. I'm working on another book right now that I've been working on for about 2 years, a book of devotional essays for all the songs I've ever released. And I'm hoping to release that by June. That's the new target. And that is a whole different, it calls upon a different skill set. So writing songs is different from writing a book, is different from writing a children's book,
Oh, yeah.
So I got to work with a children's author named Jess Waller, and she was great. She really helped craft the story of Sparrows. She understands the language of children's books. It's interesting. As a songwriter, and in the other book I'm writing, you learn that there are words you stay away from. Like, you avoid the word very if you can, and actually, because those words aren't actually, well, there you go, moving the ball down the field, and if you take those words out, it makes your content punchier and more direct,
It makes it very direct.
It makes it very direct, very much more direct. It's weird because we use these words all the time, Also, like a word like just is one you're not supposed to use in songwriting. Anyway, all of that to say that I've worked hard to restrain myself from using those kinds of words. And I'm working with Jess on the children's story. And there's a line in there where it goes, and he cares very, very much. And I was like, there's 2 very's in there.
Yeah.
And I would not have put those in there, but the way it's in there, it feels so like soothing and comforting, and he cares very, very much, And so that was a moment where I realized that it's a different, there are different rules. It's a different language that I had to learn, and I was happy that she was helping me learn it. So
yeah. What kind of are you getting any feedback from the book?
Yeah, all so positive. People have embraced it, and they're about a pound each. These guys are, and I have weight restrictions on my suitcases when I travel, so I can only bring so many of them, and I load my backpack as full as I can. Like, it's killing my back, and I'm just loaded up with, and I can't bring enough of these books out with me. I usually, like, if I'm out for 3 days, I usually sell out of them on the first night, so it's like, oh shoot. So I gotta, and then once I get the other book done, I'm like, how am I supposed to travel with all these books? But
Yeah.
it's a good problem to have. I'm
That is a good
Yeah.
problem.
enjoying all of it. So, the other book, the book of devotional essays, it's the hardest thing I've ever done, but I think everybody should do some writing like that, like the way it has really helped me to clarify my thinking and examine my own thinking. And yeah, it's brought a lot of clarity to my convictions and understanding. It's been good. Author and psychologist Jordan Peterson. I don't know if you guys know who he is, but
Oh yeah. I'm in the middle of his new book.
yeah. What do you think
Yeah.
so far?
I think it's good.
Yeah.
It's a lot. I have to take it in sections because it's a lot to ponder on.
Yeah. But he equates, when you're in a conversation and you're looking for just the right word, and no, that word's not quite right, and you're trying to say something as true as you can, as truthfully as you can, and you're picking your words, and you'll say a word, and then you'll be like, no, I retract that one, and I'll offer this other one, and that one's more accurate. He equates all of that, or he calls that, one of the ways that we wrestle with God, because you're wrestling with truth. Writing this book has been 2 years of wrestling with truth and getting the exact right language, and that it's changing me, So,
Well, Jason, this is a fan-based podcast, and so we will have people write in, and
wonderful.
people write in. We'll let them know who we're interviewing, and we had a fan of yours. His name is Dallas, and he is from Arkansas, and he wants to know the story behind your song, "I'm Gonna Let It Go."
Yeah. I read a book. I'm looking at it right now, actually. It's called A Failure of Nerve by Edwin Friedman. So I'm converting my upstairs room here into a studio space, and it was very echoey up here. So a part of my soundproofing, I built bookshelves
Okay.
in the wall, and so I can see my books right there. Edwin Friedman, Failure of Nerve, and in the book he talks about how over half the world population is wrestling with chronic debilitating anxiety, and half the population, that's a lot of people.
Oh yeah.
And yet when I heard that, I thought, that seems like a low number to me, because everybody I know is dealing with it on some level. And I thought, like I should write more songs that address anxiety, and examining it in my own life, and noticing that, well, here's a good metaphor. Like, my stuttering gets worse the more that I don't want it to happen. So like in an interview, if I'm really afraid of it, or if I don't get to communicate with an audience that I have a speech handicap, I'm very anxious about it happening.
Yeah.
Because they're not going to understand. It's going to make an awkward moment. And so the moment that I finally get to tell them about it, then I kind of don't care anymore, and it goes away, right? So I stutter the most when I don't want to stutter. And that means it's a nasty little trick that I play on myself, right? And I think anxiety is like that too, because so much of our anxiety, I'll speak for myself in my life, so much of my anxiety comes from the ways that I try to keep from feeling anxiety. And that is by trying to control things.
Yeah.
I feel like I got a grip on things and hold on to the things that I care about so that I don't lose them. And all of this clutching and trying to control, man, this is anxiety, trying to hold my whole world together all the time. Why? So that I don't feel anxiety, but I'm getting anxiety from trying to protect myself from that, right? And the antidote for me is to learn how to hold things like this. held with an open hand. I still get to hold the things in my life, but I'm not doing all this, right? And so I wanted to do a song about that, and I had a write on the calendar with a great producer named Jeff Soika and an amazing artist named Ellie Holcomb, and we were writing with each other. And he'd been playing around with a reggae kind of a groove, you know.
Yeah.
He's playing this thing, and we were like, man, this feels good, you know. And would it be interesting to write a song about surrendering and anxiety to a groove that feels like this, you know? So it all came together in that way, and we had a blast writing it. But yeah, you know, like I wanted to, as a statement, offer up the idea that the antidote to my anxiety is to learn how to let things go, you know. So yeah,
That's
so
amazing.
there's something else to say about it. Yeah, I was listening to a Swedish pop artist at the time named Tuve Styrka, and she had these kind of little slidey little melodies that she would sing, and I thought I want to do something like that. So I'm very proud of the melody of that song because it's what I was into at the time. So the moment, I'm getting all the words wrong, but you know, that kind of a melody was super fun.
Yeah.
Yeah. That's great. Well, with our first time guest, Jason, we like to do a thing called favorite things. And so I'm just going to give you a word and you tell me your favorite thing in that category. Sound good?
Sounds good.
All right. First one, let's do favorite food.
Favorite food, coffee.
Yeah.
Morning, afternoon, and night.
Yeah, I try to be done by the afternoon so I can sleep.
All right.
Well, okay. My when I'm on the road, I'm always looking for a smoothie bowl place.
Okay. Yeah.
So I don't love vegetables, and I'm trying, you guys. I've been trying my whole life. And I've found that I can really love my vegetables in smoothie bowl form. So I'll look for a place or like when I make them at home here, it's mostly vegetables. It's beets, cauliflower, avocado, spinach, and then I'll throw a little bit of an apple in there and some blueberries, and then that makes it kind of sweet.
Yeah.
With a little bit of yogurt. And I love smoothie bowls. Love smoothie bowls.
All right. Well, since it's that season, favorite Christmas movie.
Favorite Christmas movie? I probably have the sweetest memories around Elf with my boys and A Muppet Christmas Carol. But my all-time favorite thing that I have to watch every year is A Charlie Brown Christmas.
Oh yeah.
It's beautiful. Makes me cry.
What about, well, you might have just answered it. Classic Christmas show that comes on every year.
Charlie Brown Christmas.
There you go.
Yeah.
All right. And then do you have a favorite artist of all time? Musical
Favorite artist? I'd say Paul Simon. Yeah. How about you guys?
Chris?
It's really dumb. I would say probably either John Mayer or Ed Sheeran have been too influential.
Yeah. Very cool.
You can't really name one. I mean, I'm a 90s kid, so I like a lot of 90s. I like Matchbox. Hootie and the Blowfish.
How about the Crows? Were you ever into the Crows?
Yeah. Crows. Do you remember a band called Seven Dust?
I remember the name,
like a
but
rock group. Yeah.
Yeah.
Christian. It's always been DC Talk. I don't know.
Yeah.
They're just amazing.
Yeah, they are.
Yeah.
Christian for me would be Skillet.
Yeah.
John Cooper majorly influenced my singing voice when I was a young pup.
Nice.
Yeah.
I'd say Christian for me would probably be Rich Mullins was so formative for me. Current would be John Foreman, I think is. I think that John Foreman,
amazing songwriter.
are the two best songwriters in Christendom.
Oh yeah.
I also love some Need to Breathe too. That dude has got an amazing voice.
Yeah. I was writing with Ellie Holcomb, and she wrote with them. And when I was working with Ellie, and if you're in a room with her, like her voice is amazing. And she'll sing an idea, and I'll be like, man, that's good. But wait a second. Is the idea good, or am I just persuaded because of how she sings? And we joked about that. And she said, when I write with Bear, I always have to ask myself that, like, is that a good line, or is that just his voice?
Yeah.
Because his voice is compelling, right? God.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Voice.
Jason, is there a dream duet? Someone you would love to sing with? Living or dead?
I've gotten to sing with so many of my friends. Yeah. You know, I do have one. Lauren Daigle, she's on my label. And the first time you would have heard her on the radio, she sang BGVs on my song, Nothing Is Wasted. And I brought her out on the road for her first ever tour. And got to watch as her thing just blew up really quickly. It was remarkable to have a front row seat to that, you know. But we wrote a song with each other that was like a conversation between Gomer and Hosea, and it's cool. It's a compelling, I think, and I'd love it if we could record that at some point. I think that'd be a lot of fun and meaningful too. It's not a single. It wouldn't be a hit, you know. So, but
All right.
she has to be very, at this point in her career, she has to be so strategic with everything that she does, you know, and stuff. So maybe there's a time further down the road when the spotlight isn't as intensely on her, and she's got a little more breathing room. That
she did a song. I can't think of the name of it because it just came out, but there was a movie
about Bonhoeffer.
What?
About
the Bonhoeffer?
Yeah.
Man, that song, so good. I was like, whoa. And it's just for that movie, so that was an amazing.
Yep. And she's great. She's so great.
All right, Jason.
I also wrote a song with Ellie Holcomb that we were going to do as a duet, and I wanted it on my last record, and we didn't get it done in time. But I sure hope we get to release that one, because I think her voice is so great. I just love her voice, you know, so it's a cool song too.
Wait to hear it. Okay, so this next one is a little bit controversial.
Okay, let's hear it.
Favorite ice cream flavor?
You know, probably like chocolate chip cookie dough. Is a good. Yeah, you know, if I'm at Cold Stone, maybe Coffee Lovers ice cream.
That's one way to eat your veggies. Just roll them in ice cream.
That's horrible.
What yogurt is, right?
Yeah.
Yogurt.
That's true. Okay, so I did a thing recently. I saw a recipe on Instagram because cottage cheese is the craze right now. Like, I don't know if you've noticed that at all. Like, you can make anything out of cottage cheese. And I found a recipe. It's like 3 cups of cottage cheese, 1/3 cup maple syrup, and a tablespoon of vanilla. That's it. And you put it in the blender and you freeze it, and it's basically ice cream. And it was really good. So I'm really excited about that discovery right now, and you know, and it feels a little healthier for whatever reason.
So if you are a fan of cottage cheese, I will tell you something that will change your life.
Okay, let's hear it.
If you get like Lay's barbecue potato chip, and dip them into cottage cheese, like it's like salsa. Use cottage cheese like salsa. It is
Lay's. What's the flavor again?
just barbecue chip. Doesn't have to necessarily be Lay's, but just barbecue chips and cottage cheese, and use it like salsa.
Okay.
It's very weird and strange sounding, I know, but it is actually really good.
It actually Sounds really good.
Yeah.
Is there a favorite podcast that you have?
Oh, yeah, I really love the Jordan Peterson podcast. I listen to that one a lot. The Huberman Lab. There's a guy in Minnesota. It's called Deep Talks, and it's like a theological musings podcast. I like that one. I like the Joe Rogan Experience a lot, depending on who he has on. So why
Yeah.
are the others I should listen to? Oh no, okay. There was one that I fell in love with and just kind of binged. 90s songs that define the 90s.
Yeah. Hold on.
And that was he's hilarious.
Probably like that one.
And it was great. Like I turned everybody I knew onto that one. It was a great discovery. The episode on Bonnie Raitt is hilarious. The one on Prince is hilarious. It was great. So The Crows was an interesting one.
Yeah.
Yeah. So how
Have
about
you-
you guys?
Well, we
Are
were
you
about
gonna
to we were about to recommend one.
Oh, okay, good.
Are you Jason? Are you into aliens or Bigfoot?
Is this the one called Blurry Creatures?
Yes.
I have friends who are into that, and I feel like it's made them weird. So I've been hesitant to.
No, I listen. So I get on two different kicks. I'll either be on podcasts and I'll listen to a lot of podcasts, or I will be on audiobook
Yeah,
and I'll flip flop between those.
me too.
Podcasts I really like Fly on the Wall with David Spade and Dana Carvey. Yeah.
I bet that's so fun.
Oh, it's hilarious.
They do impressions and everything.
Yeah. And then there's a few others. There's like one about history that doesn't suck. He does great, like brings you back from and like brings you through the whole history of America, like US and everything. They're
Oh,
great
wow.
one. Yeah, there's a few of them. But yeah,
That sounds really good.
I'm on audiobooks right now at the moment. But
What are you listening to on audiobooks?
in the middle of I'm on Jordan B. new book.
I'm doing that one as an audiobook too. I have the actual book, so when I hear something I want to underline,
Yes.
I can go do that. But
Yeah.
but I'm listening to the audiobook.
See, that's what I love about Spotify now is you can do audiobooks too. So
Yeah,
I do a lot of that.
yeah.
Yeah, I'm all over the place. Audiobooks. I love a good sci-fi book,
Yeah.
or it's all over the place. There's no actual.
Now, I was going to say Stephen Curtis Chapman, me and my wife listened to his audiobook. He had a book he wrote a few years back, but
Yeah.
just to hear the man's story is insane. Like
Yeah.
the dude has been through a bunch and he's been around
Yeah.
forever, but that was a good book.
I need to check that one out.
Yeah. I think it's called Heaven in the Real World or something like that.
Yeah.
But, I mean, he starts from when he was a kid all the way through, his daughter getting killed and,
Yeah.
all the way up till today. So, yeah. Crazy life.
Yeah.
For sure.
I need to listen to that one. I was out on the road with him in a very, very painful season of life. And he was so good to me.
Yeah.
He's everything that you would hope he'd be.
Yeah.
Yeah.
For sure.
Yeah. Yeah. He was great.
All right, Jason. What is one thing about yourself that people don't know? It could be off the wall. It could be something simple.
Huh. I don't know. Kind of an open book. I would say I have a pretty active mind. I always kind of have to be, how people will play with their hair and kind of like,
Yeah.
I have to do something like that. Like I always have to be something in my mind that I'm kind of working on. And the only way to get a break from that, and it doesn't even give me a break, but it directs it, is watching an engaging TV show or a movie. It's not escapism. It has to be something meaningful that engages that, directs it. But I'm usually ending my days by watching some film or show that directs my thinking and my curiosity and I suppose dramatizes or allows me to apply things that maybe the Holy Spirit is speaking to me about human nature and truth and reality and why we do the things that we do. And then when I watch a film, I get to see that kind of dramatized. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
So I'm a big fan of film. I've always dreamed of writing a screenplay.
Mm-hmm.
I toyed around with it a little bit,
Yeah.
but I've got these other books I have to get done first. I'm working on 3 books at the same time. I'm almost done with the book of devotional essays, and then I'm also working on a autobiography of my journey of faith and how I came to faith, how I lost my faith, and how it came back to me. That's probably the next one I'll work on because I'm about 2/3 of the way through that one, and then another book after that. So we'll see. I got to get on with this first one first.
I would say you might have a twin out there. My brother may not agree with me, but I don't know if anyone's ever told you, you kind of look like a younger version of Kevin Bacon.
I've heard that before. Yeah.
I'm like, man, I've known your music for a while, and then when I see you sometimes, I'm like, man, he looks like somebody, and I can't. Oh, Kevin Bacon.
Yeah. I'll take that.
Yeah.
Yeah, he's all right.
See, I'm in the middle of you were talking about movies. I'm in the middle of a captivating movie. I watch it almost every night the past 2 weeks, and it's WALL-E, the Disney movie, because my 3-year-old wants to watch it over and over again.
I love WALL-E. Those first 8 or 9 Pixar movies are.
Oh yeah, they're really good.
Nothing like them, right? Oh my gosh, those are so good. I loved WALL-E. I was just thinking this week about a movie I want to watch again called Last Days in the Desert. Have you heard of that one?
I think I have.
Ewan McGregor plays both Jesus and the devil. And it's about his last days, after he's been in the desert for 40 days and 40 nights.
Yeah.
And the temptation's about to happen. And it's about those last days. And it's really fascinating. And the guy who directed it, he wasn't exactly making an evangelistic kind of movie it was more, he wanted to make a movie about the tension, the drama between fathers and sons.
Yeah.
And he thought, what better way to do that than, with the ultimate father and son, And so it's fascinating. And because it doesn't have an evangelical agenda or anything like that, it just kind of is what it is. It has some really surprising insights that I loved. It was actually very helpful for me.
Check it out.
Yeah, it's great. I also love Ewan McGregor because who doesn't want to see Obi-Wan Kenobi play Jesus, right? So, yeah.
So, Jason, what is next for you, and how can our listeners and viewers keep up with you?
Instagram and Facebook are great places. I'm trying to get done with this book, and I just today I announced I'm going to do a tour in the spring where I record all the shows.
Yeah.
And I want to make a live recording out of that. People have been asking me for years, for a live album because my concerts are as much stories as it is music, and people are always asking for the stories. So we're going to do that. I'm pretty excited about it. It's a little bit daunting too.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. So that's coming up. I don't know if I'm supposed to talk about it, but I'm going to talk about it in conjunction with the book of my devotional essays. We're doing an acoustic versions greatest hits album.
Oh yeah.
and I'm working on it with my son. And I was just gonna, just grab a guitar, stick a mic, and just play things through. And he was over here. He goes, "Well, yeah, or what if we did like a coffee house version of Sparrows that you can do your homework to?"
Yeah.
And I said, "Okay, what would that be like?" And he started playing around with some things, and it felt really emotional and vibey and beautiful, and kind of like a Bon Iver record a little bit, like
Yeah.
the
Oh
earlier
yeah.
ones.
Oh yeah.
Huge Bon Iver fan too,
Thanks.
so it's like, okay, well, yeah, how do we make a whole album like that? And one of the ideas he had is, if we have the guitar and you just kind of hold it in your lap, let's see if you can see if I turn this down, and you're just going, so that's where all the groove is coming from. It's off the body of the guitar. Something about that just feels organic and cool and has its own vibe. And it's interesting how much of a vibe the record has with the constraints that we have on it of being acoustics. I'm having a lot of fun working on that with him. In the meantime, I'm also writing new songs for a new record, lots of irons in the fire right now.
Well, Jason, to wrap up, we'd like to see if you'd be willing to share something that God's been doing in your life recently that would help maybe build our viewers and our listeners' faith.
What's something that would be meaningful? Something I was thinking about today. I was on a flight recently, and I put my guitar up in the bin, and I always feel bad because it takes up a lot of space, so I let the flight attendant know. I said, "Hey, I've got a very sturdy case, so anything can go on top of it. It'll be just fine." She goes, "Okay, I'll make sure that nobody throws anything on top of it." No, like I was actually saying, if you want to, you can throw things on top because it's very sturdy. She goes, "It's okay. I'll make sure that nobody puts anything else in there." And it was clear that she just wasn't hearing. Like, she thought she knew what I was going to say. And because of that, she couldn't hear what I was actually saying. And I've been thinking a lot about how do we overcome the problem of confirmation bias, right? Because we're wired that way. Our thinking, our mind just becomes its own prison. How do we break free of that? And a lot of that for me is I try to seek out people who think differently than I do and who see the world differently than I do, and read their books. So like I'm in a new phase of life where I'd say for many, many years as a new believer, I read a lot of books that built my faith up, that built up a certain worldview. And I'll still do that occasionally, but I'm in a new season where I don't want to read things that I already agree with. I don't want to be confirmed in what I already know. There's something, it's more, I don't want to love what I already know. Okay, here's a quote from Jordan Peterson. You can love what you know, or you can love what you don't know. And there's a lot more that you don't know. So choose what you love wisely. And if I choose to love what I don't know, there's a great opportunity to learn in that, right? How do we not get carried away into crazy ideas or damaging ideas? I guess that's the tightrope, but so I'm doing a lot of that. I want my life to be marked by curiosity. Like, you may believe some things that I'll never land where you do, but I'd like to hear how you got there, and I might learn at least a few new things I wouldn't have known otherwise along the way, some other perspectives. So, yeah.
Well, Jason, we appreciate your time, man. Christmas tour currently with Point of Grace.
Yeah.
You got a few more shows, the Christmas Stories tour, correct?
Yeah, I think we got 6 more of those shows, and then I've got one of my own. Yeah.
Sparrows Kids book is out now. Where can people get a copy of that book?
Off my website, jasongraymusic.com.
All right. Well, we thank you so much for your time, Jason.
Yeah. Thank you. Good to talk with you guys. Let's do it again sometime.
Absolutely, man. We would love it.